Good morning, everybody. It is great to see you. My name is Santosh, and I'm so glad that you're here today. You know, whether this is your first time or whether you've been coming for a while, we have a really special month ahead. This is Pastor Rick Warren's last month as our senior pastor at Saddleback, and he's been serving so faithfully. For 42 years, he's been the senior pastor of this church. And we know that we're stepping into a new era, and God has been leading all along the way. God started something incredible in Pastor Rick's heart when he gave him the vision for Saddleback Church, and this is part of that vision, what we're doing here right now, here at Saddleback Brea. But over the next few weeks, we're going to take a look back at each of the decades to be able to celebrate some of the key things that God has done. So today, we're just going to take a moment to reflect on the 80s, where it all began for Saddleback Church, where in Orange County on Easter Sunday, 1980, God started a beautiful thing in this church. Many, many people have given their lives to Christ. Many people, over 57,000 people, have been baptized at all the campuses. God has done miracle after miracle, and we are part of that. Being a part of a church that is continuing to follow God and see what God has done. So we're going to just start this morning as we reflect back on that, on the 80s and what God started. And I just want to say to you, for Saddleback Brea, we're in our first decade. And as I see this, it makes me think about how God started something so incredible, so beautiful, through the faithfulness of a few people who said, we want to follow you, God. And in that, we saw miracles for decades. And as I look out here, I know that there are many people who have dedicated time and energy to start something here, to say the same thing. God, we want to follow you here in North Orange County and see you do incredible things. We surrender ourselves to you, and we are seeing miracles as well. So maybe most of us, I think all of us maybe, were not part of Saddleback in the 80s, but we can reflect and say thank you to God as we also look forward and say, what are you going to do? As we're in our first decade here for Saddleback Brea, what are you going to do in the next 30, 40 years? So let's thank God together for what he has done before we get ready to worship all together.
He who began a good work in you, he who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. He'll be faithful to complete it. He who started the work will be faithful to complete it in you.
And he says, as the Father has sent me, I am sending you. Now, why did he say that? He says to the disciples, you're not finished yet. I'm not through with you. We've got a job to do. This is only the beginning. I have a purpose for your life. And to overcome disappointment, you discover God's presence and you determine God's purpose. The point is, God's purpose is always greater than your problem. And failure is never final unless you allow it. You're never a failure till you quit. Many people have bad experiences. They let that ruin their entire lives. They say, I can never love again. I'll never be able to do anything. But persistence is the key to overcoming discouragement. You discover God's purpose, and that makes you persistent.
To complete it. He'll be faithful to complete it. He who started the work will be faithful to complete it in you. He who started the work will be faithful to complete